Hello everyone. Did PSA just trigger a federal investigation? And that's what we're going to explore in this video. I've got my notes here. So if you are not aware, last week PSA announced that it will be buying Beckett Grading. On the surface, this doesn't seem like a very big deal. PSA buys everything they want. Fanatics buys everything they want. Unfortunately, New York Congressman Patrick Ryan thinks this is a big deal, and he has written a letter asking the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, to look into PSA's acquisition of Beckett, because as the press release says, and you could see it right here, he is saying that PSA is forming a monopoly. In the words of the press release, 80% market share, a dominance, a stranglehold on the hobby, which would be in violation of U.S. federal antitrust laws, which I told you guys about last week when this was announced. I said, hey, no one's going to allow this to happen, but we'll see, because the government is doing its own thing. Now, I want to give a shout out to Boston Card Hunter, because he did a very good reel on IG for this. If you're not following me, go follow Instagram over there, because I do put out stories as well on that channel. But here's the thing that most people don't realize about our government and kind of regulation in general. So Congressman Patrick Ryan is asking for the FTC to look into this. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. The problem is that our government doesn't actually work the way you think it should work. And that's the key point, is should. S-H-O-U-L-D. Our government should do a lot of things, but it doesn't. Like, our government should not allow sitting congressmen and sitting senators from trading stocks and bonds on insider information. They should not allow that to happen, and yet it happens. The government should not allow PSA and Fanatics to hold monopolies in the sports card hobby, and yet they allow it to happen. And that's where you guys have to start realizing the should've, would'ves don't actually mean anything in reality. And if you're not a subscriber here, I hope that you are now. So I have a eclectic background. I know I've talked to you guys about my former reporting days. Yes, I was a sports reporter for the Star Ledger newspaper in New Jersey. I also was a newsroom political reporter for WRKL in New York. I also was a play-by-play host or announcer for the professional team Boston Blazers lacrosse of the MILL. I've been in sports my whole life, but I've also been in politics. Yeah, I was a speechwriter, press secretary, and legislative aide in state government in New Jersey for a few years, and I worked on campaigns for more than a decade. So I've seen politics and how our government works from the inside, not from the outside. And so I know what it's like to be in one of those offices when you get one of these situations on your desk. And probably what happened is Patrick Ryan probably has kids around 8 to 12 years old, and maybe his son or his son's friends were saying like, hey, PSA is going to own all of these things. And Patrick Ryan was like, what do you mean they're going to own everything? And he looked into it, and he's like, they do. They own everything. Like, that's not allowed. That's called a competitive disadvantage. That's called a monopoly, and that's not allowed. So the government has the right to go after you. And I think that all of these players, Michael Rubin, Fanatics, PSA, Nat Turner, I think they might start kind of being more cautious of like, well, we've flown under the radar for decades. Like, no one cared what we did. And we could literally rip the public off as much as we want. And now when the government gets involved, one thing that I want everybody to understand about the government is that Patrick Ryan does not care about you or PSA or whatever. He really doesn't. This is a moment that if he will get press on it, he will go after it. He will be like, ooh, I can make a name for myself. That's what every politician wants. They want attention. They're just like YouTubers, except that they don't know how to make videos. So they're looking for the same amount of attention that you guys are, but the way they do it is by finding stories of the little guy getting ripped off. And PSA ripping off children is a great story. So again, it's the same thing with the gambling addiction issue. And if you have a problem with gambling in the hobby, please go sign up for Collectors MD. It is free, 100% free for support. I want you to get there. I am on the board of Collectors MD for transparency, but this is a great place for you if you have problems with card addiction and any other overspending in the hobby. But this is the point, is that Patrick Ryan is basically, it's funny that his name is Patrick Ryan because we had another Patrick Ryan because of the controversy with the shill bidding that I exposed with Teapot and Jeff Wilson. Again, no relation here. Just want to make sure that this is Congressman Pat Ryan as opposed to the collector Pat Ryan. Two different people. So I don't want anyone to get confused because I was sort of like, that name sounds familiar here. Wait a minute. So anyway, my point being is that the only reason that Pat Ryan, so he sent this letter to the FTC chairman, that's it. Nothing's going to happen after that unless media picks this up or unless you guys elevate this video. If you hit the hype button, if you share this video, it will actually get momentum, and then Pat Ryan might want to do something more. I will reach out to his office and see if he wants to come on the channel to talk about this issue. I think it would be helpful for everybody in the hobby if you could hear from an elected official and how they're thinking about this. And maybe in real time, I can show you strategy as to how I would tell a sitting congressman how to go after these companies who are trying to rip the public off. Again, at the core of what a politician is supposed to do, an elected official, they're supposed to protect your interests. That's what they're supposed to do. Again, should do. But what government actually does is just line their own pockets. Again, they should not be allowed to do that, but it's not illegal. Therefore, there's nothing stopping them. Again, there should be illegal and is illegal, two different things. But PSA acquiring Beckett is definitely against the law, potentially. Antitrust violations, again, allegedly, because there should be a lawsuit and the government needs to bring it before a court and a judge needs to say whether or not this does violate antitrust laws or does not. Because 80% of the market is a monopoly. I mean, I don't know how TAG or CGC or any of these companies can survive, especially since now PSA, if they own Beckett, PSA, and SGC, they can lower the price now on grading artificially, like do a whole sale. Like they could put out $10 grading fees, get a whole bunch of people to grade with them, and just knock everybody else out. And then once no one's left, jack the prices up to like $30 or $40 per card, and you're out of luck because there's nowhere else to go. And that's the danger of allowing these companies to buy too much, because then there's no competition, and who gets hurt? You, the consumer. So we'll see where this story goes, but if you want to know more, hit the subscribe button. This is the channel for you, the sports card collector, the person who likes sports cards, and wants to know things about life. My name is Doc, and I'll see you in the next one.